Hello, and welcome to this series of Ways to Change Your Workplace with myself, Preena Shah. And I'm really pleased to be talking with Jacquie Thomson today. And Jacquie, I'm going to introduce you my way first, and then I'd love to hear all about you. I'll hand over to you shortly.
Sure.
Welcome, first off. So Jacquie Thomson is the CEO of Ability Western Australia, which is a not-for-profit who are celebrating their 70th anniversary this year, I believe. And I've had the pleasure myself of working directly with Jacquie in a past role. And Jacquie has the ability to connect people, to connect places. And one of the big things I worked with Jacquie on when she was looking temporarily after a big branch is optimizing the culture of this branch. And Jacquie did it so beautifully, Jacquie, and that's when I really truly got to know you, when we worked closely together on that project. People still talk about you, they still miss you.
Oh, I miss them.
Yeah, beautiful bunch. So Jacquie, I'm really pleased to be talking to you today about all things in relation to Ability WA, your 70th anniversary, and especially optimization of organizational cultures, which you are very well adept at. So Jacquie, if I may hand over to you to do a little bit of an introduction to yourself, because we also have global listeners. And who are you, what do you do, and what's Ability WA all about?
Okay.
First
of all, let me say thank you. It's a real pleasure to be talking with you. And I love the fact that even though we used to work together, we still continue to have our paths cross. So one of the pleasures of life. I hate talking about myself, but I love talking about Ability WA. Firstly, though, just a very quick introduction to me. I've been at Ability WA for 3 years now. Prior to that, had the pleasure of working with you at another organisation. It was Lottery West. The most amazing organisation and the most amazing experience. I was there for 20-something years, but I don't want to give my age away. But what that did was give me the absolute privilege of working across the not-for-profit sector, engaging heavily with the corporate and government sectors as well, and across Western Australia. So all those different communities, and really got to understand the fabric of our state. And what a privilege that was. And prior to that, I worked in various not-for-profit organisations. So let me tell you about Ability WA. We are 70 years old. We were established in the late 1940s by a group of parents who had kids with disabilities. In those days, different language, but we say kids with disabilities now. And they decided that although the organisation they were working with was terrific, they wanted a different path for their children. And so their mantra was simply that they wanted a better life for their children and other children. So pretty simple, but incredibly compelling. And very much that's what we're about today. Really, in many ways, our history is our future.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of reflecting on that. We offer services for people with disabilities across all age ranges and across all disability diagnosis. We have a history and a specialty in cerebral palsy, people with cerebral palsy, and we retain that proudly, but we are more broader than that. We have a diversity of services, community living, therapy, community participation, residential, all the different therapies, employment, enterprise services. We're very diverse, and that just makes it wonderful as well. We've got about 2,000 customers and about 1,000 staff members. So we're a large organisation of many moving parts.
Yeah, and when you were talking, Jacquie, I wrote down, our history is our future. What a statement there.
That's true.
In terms of your 70 years, how are you celebrating as a workforce?
Oh, look, it's been a most amazing year. It's been a year of reflection, and it was when we really started to think about our 70 years, and it was then we really understood that our history is our future, because it's so simple and it's so compelling. Our vision is to be part of a community in which people of all abilities thrive throughout their lives. So again, very, very powerful. And this year we really took the opportunity to reflect on who we were, where we've been, and to create our future. Celebrating the past was very, very important. We stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before us. And what a fabulous year it's been. Very powerfully, we established a new strategic plan for the next 3 years and refreshed our corporate values, of which I'm very proud because they're so impactful. And then we got into celebration mode. And what we didn't want to do is have just one whiz-bang party. We wanted a series of events throughout the year that would be an opportunity for various parts of our organisation to come together and to celebrate. We kicked off on our actual anniversary day with a garden party in our beautiful gardens here for long-standing customers and their families, and that was a really special event. Followed that evening by a do at the Swan Bell, what's it called? The Bell Tower on the Swan River. And we just had a very simple cocktail event for some of our supporters and our board, which was a really magical evening with the Bell Tower lit up in our corporate colours. We followed that with an art exhibition with all of the art created by people with disabilities. And that was just the most fabulous evening, and people still talk about that. We had a fancy gala dinner, and that was a great night. It was a real sense of celebration, and all sorts of people who were long-term supporters and new to Ability WA came along, because that's the importance of a 70th, is a real opportunity to extend your story and celebrate your brand and build your brand. And then we had a breakfast with leading sports people and Paralympians as they came back from Tokyo, because sport's such an important part of life for especially children with disabilities, as both a therapeutic intervention and also an opportunity for social development and just having fun. So that was the part of it. And then last Friday night, we really wrapped it up with a staff party, a 1950s themed staff party. I left as people were congoing. I thought, oh, this is the time that I get out. But it's been a fabulous year to really reflect on our 70 years and, as I said, create our future. 70 years in Western Australia might seem a long time, but it's not really in the overall scheme of things. But what it also made us think about was our role in the not-for-profit sector as a steward of our community and our responsibility to leave our part of it better than we found.
Fantastic, Jackie. Thank you so much for that. So you talked about looking at your past and celebrating all of that. It sounds like you have been partying very well. I'm proud of you. Very well done there. And you're looking to the future as well in terms of your new strategic plan. What does the future look like? What are your intentions? What are your big plans?
Well, look, I've been asked that a lot.
Yeah.
Our founding fathers and mothers of 70 years ago couldn't have imagined a world that's as inclusive as it is now for their children. Now, we've still got a long way to go, please. I'm not being self-congratulatory at all. So if that was there, that's where they were, I can't even imagine what 70 years would be like. But one of the things I do hope for is that we still have a civil society in Western Australia, and that not-for-profits are, in the main, those that provide those essential human services. My personal belief is those critical human services actually belong in the not-for-profit sector, where it's values and mission driven, not profit driven. For the organisation, look, I think the reality of what our purpose is we will still be a service provider, but I hope that we are leading in providing voice and elevating voice of people with disability. I am sure we will continue our commitment to make sure that our customers are actually really truly at the centre of all we do. And we don't have to be conscious of that. It's just who we are. It's in our DNA. I really hope that we've increased our research capacity and our learning capacity as both an organisation and as a community. Oh gosh, so much, but it's 70 years. I can't dream that far. Goodness knows, getting through tomorrow might be a bit of a stretch sometimes.
Indeed, indeed. So if we were to pare it down to the here and now, you have been the CEO for 3 years now. Time has flown, Jackie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay, time has flown. Can I ask, so you've been there for 3 years, so you clearly as a CEO have made your mark there. And with your lead team, what kind of culture have you created or intend to create, and why, from an organizational culture perspective, please, Jackie?
Culture's that intangible. I don't actually think, oh, look, you know, you're the org development specialist, and you'll probably hate me for saying this. I don't think you can actually curate a culture.
Yeah, okay.
I think you can be clear about who you are, whoever you is. Yeah. I think you can be very present, and so that what's important to you becomes very apparent to others around you just by being around and by talking, communicating, getting to know people, that old thing about leadership by walking around. Our executive team and management teams are very connected in being very purposeful in all our interactions, having fun, being quick to laugh. The culture, people describe our culture as being warm, that people are kind, that it's inclusive, that it's welcoming, that it's very, very driven in terms of what we're actually here for, but there is a strong sense of fun. But you know what really creates culture for Ability WA is that my office, everybody's office, every role in the organisation, and, you know, I've told you how, you know, that we're large, every one of us, every day interacts with people with disability.
Yeah.
So I look outside my window, and we have a beautiful site with gorgeous gardens and bushland, and I see people coming and going all day. I see kids after school racing in for therapy. I see mums really struggling to wrangle a toddler and get another child with a disability and all their gear out of the car. And I see one of our property team go and help her very quickly. That's culture to me. That's that culture in action. It's been connected, it's been real, being very clear about what we're here for.
You have just made the intangible tangible there.
There we go.
And the fact, the really good point that you make as well is that you can see the output of every single person's work daily there.
Absolutely.
But, you know, you're located on site. You see your customers have come on site as well. I'm sure that from a cultural perspective just makes such a difference to anyone working as the CEO or as, you know, the bookkeeper, the accountant, let's say.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We don't have our corporate team in a gilded cage somewhere. You know, we breathe the same air, and so shall it be for as long as I can influence that.
Yeah, because from an org culture perspective, Jackie, one of the hardest things when I'm working with the curly, difficult cultures is that employees don't have that clear line of sight as to how I fit in and what I do contributes to that output of what us as an organization do. Whereas from your perspective and Ability WA's, it's there daily.
It's every day. Yep, it's every day. It's in our face. It's great.
Beautiful. Excellent. I'm looking forward to the next 70 years and whatever else that you have to contribute as well as a CEO and as your lead team, Jackie. Also, I know the landscape of the not-for-profit world is ever changing in Western Australia where we are, and then there are new things such as the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which I won't get too into the detail of, but there's lots imposed on not-for-profits as well from a compliance perspective, which is really difficult to navigate. And now we've got assisted dying, which has been approved in Western Australia, which is a massive thing, isn't it?
It is. And gosh, there's lots of really interesting policy and ethical matters that we're wrangling with. So it's not just assisted dying, but expand that conversation to end-of-life planning for a person with disability and the choices they are able or not able to enact, no matter what your personal belief system might be. So it's nice and messy.
Yeah, nice and messy. I like that, because I understand from the not-for-profit perspective as well. When I used to lead a people and culture team at not-for-profit, government, there'll be policy and whatever up there, out there, but then it's what we make it and how we expand it to our culture, our values, and our customers, really.
It's a really challenging one, Prina, and I don't want to get into the whys and wherefores of the NDIA because I'll get on my soapbox. But I think the premise of the NDIA, which is all about choice and control and the power in the hands of the person with disability, has just been watered down, in fact, to a bureaucratic monolith that is pretty dysfunctional, but at its heart actually removes choice and control, because the choice and control that sits with the person with disability is that is deigned to be fit to be so by the NDIA. So the notion that a person with disability might be allocated according to their needs a bucket of money, a budget with which to purchase service, is only true to an extent. In fact, they're only able to purchase those services that the faceless NDIA believe that person requires. And more often than not actually, that happens without any face-to-face engagement with the customer or any prior relationship with the customer. So in fact, what we've done, in my view, is really developed a very transactional approach, and we've commoditized people.
Absolutely so, because, okay, let's talk NDIS. We've seen the private sector really getting into this whole area as well now because of the whole commoditization aspect of NDIS, which then creates tension and confusion and just quite a mess for people who are truly in need. Yes.
Yeah. And we've got this real tension, and it gets back to the matter of culture. So the people who work at Ability WA are not motivated by buying the boat or working for the man. They're really driven by making a difference in people's lives. So you take that very values-driven approach under an old world, and I'm not hankering after the old world, I'm just saying as a matter of comparison, there was block funding, and it meant that if need be, a therapist would spend the time they needed with the child to get the outcomes. But now we're actually, the funding is effectively on billable hours. So for a person who's choosing to work in the disability sector, there's a real tension between their own values and what drives them and what might they know be best for the customer they're working with, and the funding model that is on top of them. A real tension for people in our sector.
Oh, completely so. And I remember when I was working in HR in the not-for-profit sector, managing all the HR for a large not-for-profit in Western Australia, when NDIS first came in, there was the whole ruling of 15 hours, only 15 hours chunks can people work, you know. So from a HR perspective, contracts, managing millions of contracts for employees and ensuring that they've got relevant and useful work as well. You know, people need to earn a living, a decent living as well. I hear you, I get it. There's a lot involved with it, from that whole government idea to real practical implementation on the ground. It's just something completely different.
People describe it, well, I've heard it described by people as the NDIA is like flying a plane while you're still trying to work out where to put the wings. And it does feel like that because it's new. And in Western Australia, it's still only, 4 years old?
Yeah.
But it's such a moving beast. We haven't stabilised this system. It really is policy on the run and pricing on the run. And the the economics of it for providers make it very, very difficult. We sit in it's, you know, no private business would really put up with, unless you're mission-based, put up with where your pricing is fixed. So your revenue is fixed according to the pricing model, but your costs are free market. And in a market like Western Australia, where we have significant boom environments, yeah. But look, I'm off my soapbox. Let's talk about positive things.
No, absolutely. So thank you so much for mentioning that. I know that you have a strong voice, and I know that you'll be advocating for the right thing as well. So if you've got a voice, use it.
Yes, and we must use our voice constructively, because as I said, the premise of the NDIA or the NDIS is terrific. Let's not throw it out the window. Let's work together with government to make it as good as it can possibly be, because what we're doing is dealing with people with disabilities.
People in need, absolutely so. Thank you so much for that, Jackie. I have one more final question for you, which I ask every single person, Jackie. If I was to hand you a magic wand, what is one way that you would change the way of the workplace?
We have a team of, if you can have a team this big, of 1,000 people. We operate 24/7, and we are a dispersed workforce across the metropolitan area. There are many people in our organisation who I've not met. There are many people in our organisation who have never come into our head office. If I could magic up a way to bring everyone together in the same place at the same time to break bread together, that would bring me immense joy.
Beautiful. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? And Zoom doesn't cut it.
No. It's that in person when we can, absolutely. And right now we can at the moment in Western Australia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
One day.
Yeah. And no doubt you've been out and about doing road shows and meeting and greeting everyone. But yeah, with such a large organization, there's constant churn and turn and new faces, old faces, all sorts.
Absolutely. So when we do come together in different forums and celebrations, it's terrific. But I'd love to just bring us all together. Very simple dream that I have.
Oh, beautiful dream. Well, Jackie, I'd like to say thank you so much, and happy 70th anniversary to Ability WA. I'm looking forward to what the next 70 years have to bring as well, and what you and your lead team contribute to the growth of this beautiful organisation.
Thank you, and thank you for your warm wishes. Great to spend time with you, Prina. Bye.